With Meta and other huge tech companies announcing recent layoffs due to their financial performance and uncertainty in the economy, it has a lot of people really worried about their jobs and if they are going to get laid off. A lot of people are speculating that a potential recession is on the way. And so I wanted to share with you some recession-proof industries that you may want to consider working in so that you don't have to worry about ever being laid off again. And if you want more career tips just like this, make sure you click subscribe down below if you haven't already. And don't be afraid to share this with your friends who are looking for recession-proof jobs. This can be your act of kindness for the day. Alright, so all of the industries that I'm going to be listing out in this video are going to be recommended to you based on LinkedIn job posting data, as well as data on layoffs.fyi, as well as what I'm currently seeing in the market today in late 2022 as a recruiter. So the first recession-proof industry to talk about is healthcare. And I think this is pretty obvious that everyone is always going to need doctors, nurses, dentists, no matter what's happening in the economy, whether companies are doing really well, people have lots of money, or people are kind of struggling, you're always going to need healthcare to take care of yourself and your loved ones. And as a bonus of working in this industry, you get to help people literally every single day as a part of your job. And don't worry if you're watching this video and you don't have a medical background and you're not a doctor or a nurse, don't worry, you should still consider working on the corporate or business side of a hospital or something in the healthcare industry, even for insurance companies. So you could do marketing, finance, accounting, HR for an actual hospital itself, and you would have relatively high job security. And if you're not too excited about working directly in the healthcare industry, you can also consider medical device sales, pharmaceutical sales, or pharmaceutical rep positions, or working for pharmaceutical companies, just not anything in full R&D, because of course whenever budgets get tight, R&D is the first thing that kind of gets constrained. The next recession-proof industry that I recommend is working for the government or working in the government. Definitely not the sexiest job, and it's not known for paying the most, but it is definitely recession-proof. Government jobs typically have very high job security, excellent work-life balance, and phenomenal retirement benefits. A lot of government jobs provide pensions, even full medical, vision, and dental healthcare plans after you retire, which is not something you would get if you were working out in the regular corporate world. I also want to mention that as a part of the government sector space, you can also consider working for the police department or fire department or emergency and rescue, maybe the National Guard or serving in the Army. All of these I would consider also to be part of the government space because all of these jobs are paid for and funded also by tax dollars. And as a bonus, by joining any of these things, you get to help people as well. Next are accounting jobs. This could be in corporate accounting or for public accounting, working for the Big Four accounting firms like I used to. This has a huge job security, and whenever a company is struggling or there are layoffs, you'll always notice that the accountants are the last people to be let go, which makes sense because no matter what happens with your business, as long as you are a business, you need to file financial statements every single year. It is a legal requirement for your company. And of course, all of these corporate financial statements need to be audited by an accounting firm like a PwC or a KPMG or a Deloitte. So all of these companies as well have very high job security. I myself used to work for a Big Four accounting firm. I have a lot of friends who also worked in these accounting firms, and I can tell you that over time, almost none of us have ever been laid off. In fact, during the 2000 to 2010 financial crisis, the only firms or the only companies that were coming on campus to hire college students and college graduates were the accounting firms because they were the only ones who still needed people to do all of these financial statements and audits. Now, the only downside here is that if you wanted to get into the accounting sector and become an accountant, you are most likely going to have to go back to school because you're going to need to get at least a certain amount, I believe it's 225 accounting credits, just so you can even be qualified, know how to do accounting, and sit for the CPA, which is a very big requirement for almost every single accounting firm. And even if you wanted to get a corporate accounting job, they're going to want to hire folks who have CPAs. But some schools like Santa Clara University actually have an accelerated accounting master's program where you can get all of the accounting credits you need in one summer. The next recession-proof industry is the finance industry. And yes, it is different from the accounting industry. These jobs are different. These jobs are like financial advisors or anyone who works for a hedge fund or a private equity firm or an investment bank. These jobs tend to be pretty resilient, and as you can see in the job market right now, the only companies that are really consistently hiring are the financial institutions and banks and everything that I mentioned above. And this makes sense because all of these companies are owned by the richest people in the world, and whether the market is up or down, they are still going to be the richest people in the world, so their companies are usually fine. And a lot of these banks right now are having huge cybersecurity risks and are also doing a digital transformation, so they're going to need a lot of help with this overall. Plus, all the richest people in the world know that when the market is down, this is the best time to invest because they're going to be able to buy low and sell high. So they're always going to be hiring and building teams and working on other stuff. And also, when the economy is in a downfall and there is a bit of a recession, financial advisors actually tend to be utilized the most because, of course, people want to know how to save, invest, and properly spend their money during a recession. The next industry is the utilities industry, and I live in California, so our main utilities provider is PG&E, and they are a huge company, and I actually know because I've talked to some people who work there that they don't pay too bad either. They pay pretty well. Very similar to healthcare, you will always need utilities. You're always going to need water, electricity, heat, just to survive. It's one of the 4 basic human needs. So this will never be replaced. But the one downside, I will say, is that it is pretty hard to break into the utilities industry and get a job there because they have so few layoffs. They almost never have layoffs, in fact. So they don't post jobs very often. So when they do, it's going to be extremely competitive to get in there. The next industry is the education industry, and that could be in the public sector or the private sector, and even includes higher education or colleges. I know the education industry is also not known for paying well, but the job itself is very rewarding, and no matter what, you're always going to need teachers, educators, administrators to run all of these schools because education is a key part of our development. And I can speak confidently that there is huge job security in this sector because the Department of Labor actually reported the education industry to have the 2nd highest employment level. Now, while the education industry isn't known for having huge high base salaries while you are working, they are known for having phenomenal retirement benefits. In fact, teachers are one of the only people, including firefighters and police fighters, who get a pension when they retire. So if you are worried about a future recession or possibly being laid off and want the comfort of knowing that your job is super secure, you're going to want to consider working in one of these 6 industries. And unfortunately, if you were laid off recently, I did create a video that will help you get a job as fast as possible after being laid off. So go ahead and check that out or share it with a friend who unfortunately lost their job recently. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate your time, and don't be afraid to shake things up.